I'm Nate the Effing Great, and what did I just watch? Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Yes, it is the Part 2 series of a trilogy that is recreated from the original Jurassic Park Lost World, and Jurassic Park 3. Now, with this one, as I'm recording this, has actually garnered a huge box office record of $717 million. Definitely one of the best movies of the year. Now, of course, when it comes to its predecessor, it is still ways away from reaching that because Jurassic World, the first one, reached a $1.6 billion. So, I mean, honestly, what are my general thoughts about this? I enjoyed this movie, actually. It garnered a 50% by critics on Rotten Tomatoes and had an audience score of 61%. Now, let's just dive right into the story. I'll give you guys my thoughts on the positives and the negatives, and then round it off with the final thoughts, whether giving it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Alright, so story-wise, it's pretty basic. A lot of people definitely saw it having a little bit of the same story that was brought in from the Lost World Jurassic Park. Basically, what ends up happening is that there are people that want to get dinosaurs off the island, and they, of course, recruit Claire and Owen, mainly because Owen is able to find a way to get to Blue, because Blue is very important to them for a very specific reason. They get all the dinosaurs that they need. They try to leave Owen and Claire behind, and they find a way that they sneak back into a ship, finding out that they were betrayed, and all these dinosaurs are going to be sold off in an underground dino auction, to say the least. But then they find out that there was a little more to it, because these guys who got these dinosaurs, of course, created a different dinosaur. For those that remember the Indominus Rex, they are now, of course, created the Indoraptor, which is basically a highly sophisticated raptor, very intelligent, very strong, and used basically as a war machine. They basically battle the Indoraptor, first with a couple of weapons, but then Blue gets involved. They do defeat the Indoraptor, but unfortunately all the dinosaurs are released into the world, and that is kind of the gist of it. So, what are some of the positives from this movie? Well, honestly, one of the things that I loved about this movie was indeed the continuation of the CGI animation that they did for the dinosaurs. The more that they do these, the more they just look so real, and that is one of the things I love about watching Jurassic Park and Jurassic World, is that these movies have a way to make these dinosaurs look so real, they look so lifelike. It's absolutely amazing. Now, of course, they're not quote-unquote historically accurate, because there's obviously been a lot of historical depictions of what they look like, but you know something, it's Steven Spielberg's baby, just leave it alone. So, I really do enjoy seeing a lot of the classic dinosaurs, such as the Triceratops, the Stegosaurus, the Raptor, the T-Rex. Then, of course, they add in a lot of other random dinosaurs like the Allosaurus, the Ankylosaurus, I believe it is, the one that has the almost like shield-like back and the clubbing tail. I really do like that they do add those things on there. And actually, there's one scene in particular that really hits hard when it comes to these dinosaurs and how they can just really affect you. There's a scene in which the ship is basically leaving, they have the doors still open, and there's one Brachiosaurus that is on the edge of the island, and it's actually just making noise. The volcano that is erupting on the island, Isla Nublar, is, barreling down, and there's lava, and there's smoke, and what you see there is just this Brachiosaurus just calling out, and it's just slowly getting engulfed by smoke. You see basically a light. It's like a silhouette of this Brachiosaurus. And it's one of those things where you feel bad. You feel just remorse. You feel like you're just watching a horrible scene, which it really kind of did feel that way. Now, granted, a lot of the dinosaurs are on the boat, but you're still caught up in that moment where it's like, wow, this is almost like the end. This is really the end of, the Jurassic, Park deal. It's just so powerful to see that. Another thing that I really enjoyed is that they gave a little bit more background to Blue and Owen. They actually had video footage of, Owen being there for all the raptors and being there from their birth all the way up to their adolescent years and, of course, being into their adult life. And they really do try to differentiate the differences between the other raptors and Blue. Like with the other raptors, they would try to attack Owen whenever he showed weakness. But with Blue, there was this unspoken connection between the two of them. It was almost like a connection between man and dog, where the dog would end up just, going up to them and just comforting them. And that was kind of the same thing with the raptor. Now, of course, that wouldn't happen in real life. I think that all the raptors would end up just wanting to kill everybody. But still having that kind of quality between Owen and Blue really just makes it so much more interesting and very much more heartfelt because you have a connection between, man and dinosaur, which a lot of people never thought that they would actually have. So it really does make the connection and the bond between Blue and Owen that much more special. And you definitely do see that throughout the movie, how these two really are, connected and how they basically feel about each other. There's a scene where basically Blue ends up getting shot and he has to and Blue's getting taken care of. He basically has to get a blood transfusion. I'm confusing Blue with just another random dinosaur. Maybe it's they're always she's. That's right. So Blue is getting a blood transfusion, and you just feel her pain that she is enduring during the time where she's getting this bullet taken out of her. She's getting blood put in her. It's one of those things where it really does a fantastic job of creating a moment where you actually feel for the dinosaur. You actually feel for it. It's not 100% real, but you kind of still have that connection because Owen has that connection with the raptors. So it's actually really good. The Indoraptor, oh my god, you talk about something that is just nightmarish. Oh, jeez. I watched this thing, and literally I was thinking to myself, well, this is going to haunt me for a while, and it still feels like it's going to. The trailers continue to make it creepy, but seeing it in the movie definitely will be one of those things where it's like, oh boy, this is not going to end well, is it? Because, like I said, it's a very intelligent dinosaur. It's basically got the mind of a raptor, but multiply that by at least 10. There's one scene where it gets tranquilized, and this guy just basically decides to try and take a tooth from this raptor to add it as a necklace. He did that to so many other dinosaurs, and that was kind of one of those things where it's like, well, okay, that's kind of effed up. But this Indoraptor basically is faking it, and this is one of those things where it's like, are you serious? This thing is that powerful and that smart that it can find a way to be immune to the tranquilizer. And it's really crazy because you see its tail moving, you see then also an eye just opening and looking around. It's kind of one of those things where it's literally like a horror movie where you're just waiting for this monster to just attack, and when it does, it still is so creepy. And it's just absolutely... throughout the movie, I'm just literally thinking, what can you do to stop it? And when you think they stopped it, it's literally like, nope, not happening. And it's like, wow, there's nothing you can do to stop it. There's nothing you can do. Until the very end, they did find a way to stop it. It's so very well done. I absolutely loved it. Alright, so I also have to be impartial and unbiased talking about the negatives throughout the movie. Well, the story is not exactly that thrilling. It is kind of predictable, to say the least. But, yeah, I just think that there's a lot of it that still kind of feels like it's a second copy and paste deal from The Lost World, Jurassic Park, because they basically bring the dinosaurs into the city, but we never really get to see the dinosaurs, create havoc and mayhem in the city. They are just still in this mansion where literally they're safe, but in the end they get released, and it's just one of those things where it's like, well, I guess we're basically screwed. And I will talk about one more major thing that I loved about it in the closing remarks. But another thing I didn't like about this was indeed the characters and the character development in this movie. What I mean by that is that Claire and Owen, we know them well. The relationship between the two of them is so... I literally was thinking they ended their relationship over a stupid reason. They were something about a van, which I thought, are you kidding me? That's the dumbest thing that you can break up over. Then it seems like they're back together again, and they're loving each other, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, what? So, literally, you guys are going back to the same formula that you had in the first movie. Okay, then. There was a couple of characters in there that were either good or just like, wow, I really want them to get eaten by a dinosaur. This kid, Franklin, who just, God help me, he was just not one of those guys that I liked at all. He was annoying. He kept screaming every time. I mean, if it was a little kid, that's one thing. Because, they're kids. They don't know any better. They don't know how to react. But when it's a full-grown adult that's screaming like a little girl, it gets annoying because, dude, stop. Just stop. It's not helping your case. And honestly, it's just going to be one of those things where it's like, well, if you die, I'm not going to feel as bad. I know I should be saying that, but it is a fictional character. Remember that. There's another character in there who is kind of like a animal nurse, and she's the one that helps Blue out a bit. And she's kind of one of the more positive characters about it. And I feel like they could have probably done more with her character, so maybe develop her a little bit more, but it is what it is. There's also this weird deal in which they had, not John Hammond, but a friend of John Hammond was kind of the financial guy behind it, which, in all honesty, was a nice touch, but it still didn't feel like, John Hammond. It's just one of those things where well, okay, we're bringing the spirit of the original Jurassic Park into this, and, it's a friend, it's somebody who knew John Hammond well. It is what it is. It just didn't really work out too well for me. Then they had this little girl who somehow was playing a pivotal role in which she was worth a lot because she was a clone of a dead girl, I believe. It was one of those things that's really weird. It's like, why bring this up? Because it didn't feel like it added anything to the story. It was just one of those things where it's like, okay, so they cloned another girl because this one kid died. It did nothing for the story. So I can definitely see why critics definitely said that there was a lot of things here that didn't add on to what the Jurassic World universe was. That was one of them. The villain was really... God, he was very twisted and sick and demented, but it was just one of those things where, he's going to die at the end. He doesn't deserve to live. And sure enough, he dies. But, just the story itself was... Let me put it to you like this. If I was to sum up Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom in one sentence, it would be this. If you've seen the trailers, you've seen it all. Bottom line. There really isn't too much more that they added on to this other than a couple of action sequences, a couple dinosaur appearances, a couple new additions here and there, but literally, it's all right there, which was not exactly one of those things that a lot of people really wanted to see. They were hoping that, they would still have that, but a little more added on. Like what they did with Infinity War, that was great, because they talked about some key points, but they didn't reveal everything. In Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, they unfortunately revealed basically everything. You could connect like, oh, okay, this is where this comes in. Well, let me guess, they're going to do this? Yep, that's what I thought. It's just very mind-boggling that they didn't give more to this film, because I think there was so much more they could have done with it. They could have had, maybe more dinosaur chase scenes, or maybe they could have had more to do with the dinosaurs in the mansion. Maybe they could have done something more with the Indoraptor. They could have added something more because they had another cameo of Henry Wu. He came back to this one. He really didn't play too much of a role, except to the very end when Indoraptor was basically getting introduced. It was one of those things where it's like, well, you bring him in for only a couple of minutes. It feels like he was a bit more of a bigger role than what they led him on to be. But he was only on for maybe a grand total of 2-3 minutes in all. It wasn't enough, bottom line. They could have added more for Henry Wu to do. Maybe he could have been the villain. Maybe he is going to be the villain in the next movie, because they've already announced that they're going to be doing a trifecta. So maybe Henry Wu is the villain in this one. Who knows? But all in all, even with a lot of these negatives, I really don't think that this was a bad movie at all. It's just they gave away too much, but you still had that nostalgia feeling after watching it. You're like, okay, you're still going to see dinosaurs, you're still going to see action scenes, you're still going to see Chris Pratt, who's, a lot of people know him as Star-Lord, and he's a great action hero. He's definitely going to be high up there with action heroes, with, the Clint Eastwoods and the John Waynes, and so many of the other action stars. He's definitely going to be high up there, and he definitely deserves a spot in a Hall of Fame. He is one of those actors that I look at this and you can definitely tell that he put so much into this. He showed his emotions when it came to Blue. He showed his emotions when it came to everything that was going on. He was just one of those guys who definitely put his heart in this movie, and it paid off for him. His motivations were clear, his character was likable. It was just one of those things where it seems like he could do no wrong, But the main thing that I loved out of this was the beginning and the ending. And no, it's not because of the movie. It's because it featured Jeff Goldblum, a.k.a. Ian Malcolm, in the first and the second Jurassic Park movies. And he is actually talking to, I guess it's Congress, if I'm not mistaken. He's talking to a court system where he's basically telling everybody that, you know what, there's a volcano that's blowing up. It's going to wipe out all these dinosaurs. You know what? Let it do it. Let God destroy what we created. And he does such a great job of basically explaining how we don't have that kind of perfect knowledge that the higher-ups have, where they knew what they were doing when they created these things. We obviously don't know what we're doing. It's better to just reset everything. Let's not allow this to, go any further. Let's learn from our mistakes, and let's move on. And there's still people that are just saying, no, we still want the dinosaurs, Well, when the dinosaurs are all out in the world, it's one of those things that it's a very crucial scene at the very end where Ian Malcolm says, well, now we have all these dinosaurs that are out and about in the world, so now we're going to have to deal with them. They were here before us, and if we're not careful, they're going to be here after us. That was one line that I really loved, because it definitely showed a lot of truth, because we usually don't know what we're doing when we deal with these creations that we created. We don't usually have a weakness for them. We just assume, you know what, everything's going to work out, it's going to be fine, it's going to go everything according to plan. Well, when that plan changes, what do you do now? And that's a lot of things why I loved about Ian Malcolm, was that he just always looked at every single worst case scenario and he played it out. And the one line that I really loved at the end, and this is kind of those things where it's going to like a little giddy for me, because I'm like, oh man, he said the title name. He just said, "Welcome to Jurassic World." And it wasn't until I hear it in the movie that it really sunk in that it literally is Jurassic World, because at Jurassic Park it was just the two islands, but here now we have a world in which dinosaurs are still roaming the earth, and we have people that are going to take them, use them as weapons, use them as, just slaves. They are using dinosaurs all around the world, so that makes this title, Jurassic World, mean that much more. I didn't think that it was going to come down to that. When I heard Jurassic World, I'm thinking, okay, it's going to be just another name for Jurassic Park. But no, I didn't look at the bigger picture that, we're going to get an actual Jurassic World. We're going to get dinosaurs all around the world, not just in the United States. There's going to be some in Russia. There's going to be some probably in Europe, in Africa, in so many different areas of the world. And it's going to be interesting to see how they do that in the third movie, because from what I've been hearing, the third movie is more than likely going to be Jurassic Wars. And you can only imagine the possibilities when it goes with that. It just sounds absolutely amazing. Just having, dinosaur and human against dinosaur and human. It just sounds so absolutely badass. And I'm looking forward to it. Has Jurassic Park kind of run its course? I think that it's slowly getting to that point where they're getting done with it. So I do believe that after this third installment of Jurassic World, they need to cut it. They need to just, say, hey, we've done everything that we could. We revitalized it. We created a lot with the first movie. We did marginally, financially okay with the second one. The third one needs to be the one where they just go all out, create a good story, get good characters involved in it, and really just create one hell of an experience. Because one of the things that people didn't like about this movie was that it felt like they were just kind of on like this flatlined ride. They needed to have a ride in this third one that's almost like a major roller coaster. They needed it to be something where everybody's just, on their feet. They're excited. They're happy. I felt like I was on a ride in the second one, like I said. But there's a lot of other people that don't agree with me. So, it is what it is. So with that, the final thoughts on Jurassic World, I definitely give this one a thumbs up. I definitely do think that is worth watching if you like it. If you like the Jurassic Park series, then I would definitely suggest watching this a couple times. If you're just looking for a good dinosaur movie, I would probably suggest watching this once, because like I said, the trailer kind of gives it away. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I'm going to be talking a little bit more about some other movies in the future, so definitely tune in to that. Be sure to give us a like on our Facebook fan page, facebook.com/changing up the game. Be sure to give my co-host VicTori Belle a like on her Facebook fan page too, as well as Bells of Fury. Definitely do want to check out that stuff. Also give us a follow on Twitter at RealFNGame, as well as give a follow to my good co-host, Mr. Max Beatty, on his Twitter at Agent Cooper 1989. So Jurassic World, it was a good movie. Was it the best? No, but it certainly wasn't the worst. So with that being said, I've been Nate the Effing Great. That concludes this edition of What Did I Just Watch? And I will talk to you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.